Mr. Kelly,
Here.
Mr. Porter,
Here.
Mr. Bonner.
Here.
Mr. Spalding, Mr. Wade.
Here. This meeting is being recorded by audio tape. Pledge of Allegiance.
We're saying you're on our own.
No
I
leaders.
think we'll have our student liaison lead us.
No pressure.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I should have looked left. I'd had Dustin Weaver lead us, but
Great job, Sam.
adoption of the board agenda. Do I have a motion?
I'll motion. I'll second it.
Discussion? Roll, please.
Mr. Porter,
Yes.
Mr. Bonner,
Yes.
Mr. Wade,
Yes.
Mr. Kelly.
Yes.
Welcome to visitors to this and all board meetings. The board desires citizens of the district to attend this meeting so that they become better acquainted with the operations and programs of the schools, and so the board may have an opportunity to hear the wishes and ideas of the public. All meetings of the board are open to the public and the media. Do we have any requests?
No, I did not receive any requests.
Student liaison report. Mr. Byrd.
I just have a few updates. So last Friday, we had graduation where we graduated 230 total students, which is an increase in our graduation rate, which is a 90.3% thanks to our Cavs Academy program. Also, we just had 9 of our 12 state test scores come in, and of those 9 test scores, 7 through 12, after talking with Mr. Ballantyne and Mr. Weaver, we came to the conclusion that all 9 of the test scores, we've seen improvement, and we're just still waiting for the other 3 to come back, which come Wednesday. And we also increased our untested rate over the past years from 12% in 2022-2023 school year to 5.7% this year. And then to wrap it up, some sports updates for our spring season. First, we have baseball starts their tournament run this Wednesday against Warren. Softball just beat Unota to move to the district semifinal against Sheridan. Boys volleyball season came to an end, but they went 21-3 and won their conference. Boys tennis also came to an end, but they went 14-2 and won their conference. And then both boys and girls track team came second in their conference, but they have over 30 students running at the district track meet. That's all I have.
Thank you, sir. Legislative update.
It'll be slightly covered in the forecast.
All right. Thank you. Big Boy Ross.
Just an update. We had graduation Thursday and they graduated 442 students, which is a record. And myself and Mrs. Swinehart attended. So that's all I got.
Thank you. Treasury reports and recommendations.
Yeah, so as most of you are familiar, we are, my position's required to file 2 5-year forecast, once in the fall and an update in the spring. We have 9 months or 10 months of actuals now, 2 months projected remaining. And so I prepared a few slides to go over kind of this year and how we're looking moving into the future. So this will show up on the TV. So here's this is our current fiscal year. Our projected, again, this is 10 months actual, 12 months is total. So 2 months is still projected. But this is a brief overview of our current fiscal year. Projected loss for the year is approaching $2.9 million. This is our breakdown of our revenue sources. As you can see, we're primarily state funded. We get 36% from our local sources, and then another small slice from all other revenue. And then this is our expenditure outlook. We're in the business of providing services to kids. 80% of our expenses come from personnel costs. That lumps salaries and benefits together. 14% from our purchase services, and 6% all other expenditures. Again, this is only related to general fund. We do operate out of other funds, federal, state revenues as well, but this is only going to primarily hit our operational expenditures and revenues. So, looking out, fiscal year 25 through fiscal year 29, you can look at a 3-year lens and a 5-year lens. In the short term, fiscal year 27, fiscal year 26 to fiscal year 27, we are still projected to have a small cash balance to operate off of. Fiscal year 28, 29, we do not have the cash remaining. So obviously you can tell this is an unsustainable path that we're going on. Again, a lot of this has to do with, there's state funding implications that are at play. The state hasn't came up with their way to fund school districts. So fiscal year 26 through 29 could look different depending on what the state comes back at, but our expenditures are going to be the same. So this is kind of shows why we are at where we're at. Our projected annual revenue change is actually minus 1.2%, and our expenditure change is 3.9, very very close and to what you picture inflation growing by. So, and then this is calendar days cash on hand. As you can see, from we had temporary reprieve from the COVID years due to ESSER funds. We were able to offset a lot of our expenditures off to COVID dollars, and that was able to hold our cash balance, cash days on hand, pretty steady all the way up to about this year, where you could see where we've started decreasing our days cash on hand. 2027 is really the year that we get to, and that days cash on hand starts dropping negative. This is my best guess on projected enrollment based on average trends through the state and based on how we've been accumulating, or this is through our SFPR, our FTE funded enrollment. So, there is increases and decreases. Again, this is based on FTE funding through the state. So, in 2020, height of COVID, we were at 2,600. Since then, now our FTE enrolled funded students is down to 2,407. I think the last SFPR that was filed. With that in mind, our expenditures per pupil does grow because of that, because we're maintaining the same level of expenditure with the drop in enrollment. But here's kind of a breakdown on how we're funded. 17% of $83 come from our our resident property owners portion. That would equate to under $20 per pupil. The rest is picked up by the state. I think that's pretty good. I think we're providing a pretty good service for that cost. And here's a few different scenarios I wanted to show you, because there is it's a double-sided conversation, because until the state figures out how they're going to fund us, we can't really have that conversation on enrollment and how that looks if there is a possibility that we could stay stable or even increase. But I wanted to put this in front of you guys because it's important to understand kind of how that looks based on how we're currently funded through the Fair School Funding Formula. So the gray line was what was filed in November. The red line is with a decrease of 32 students annually. And the blue line is if we can hold stable enrollment through the next 5 years. And again, this all depends on how we're currently being funded and if we will continually get funded that same way. So I guess after working on this, we've been working on it. These are continually updated. This is a stagnant picture based on what I am aware of and what it's the best that I have based on the knowledge that I have of how we're going to proceed forward. So my key takeaways, November, we were projected $2 million deficit. By January, the estimate increased by to $2.5 million deficit spending. And as of now, we are just over 2.8 million overspend on line 6.01. I think that's the most important line in the forecast. A lot of people will drop to the cash balance, but the 6.01 is showing your deficit, your revenues over your expenditures. And so across all three forecasts, the variance was within 1 to 3% of our total $36 million budget. And so it's, this isn't really a precise accounting statement. Things change throughout the year, but it gives you a directionally accurate snapshot of where we're at and how we're trending. And so although lines may change, the overall picture doesn't. And so, looking ahead, giving what we know today, this is the most reasonable and responsible outlook forecast I can present. Until revenue exceeds expenditures on line 6.01, we're going to have to stay disciplined and conservative in our financial decisions that we make. And so there is a portion of me that wants to be optimistic, but I do need to give you guys the conservative approach, because being optimistic in my assumptions is just going to widen the deficit and make it harder for future recovery. And so, like I said, this will continually be monitored. And so if I do see, increased enrollment, increase in revenues, or a large decrease in our expenditures based on operational changes that we make, those will be implemented into a forecast and presented to you guys as I get that information. And so, I guess it's difficult. This is not a position that any one of us want to be in. COVID, we are able to provide a lot of services through COVID. We were probably one of the only school districts that stayed open fully during COVID. And so that was able to put some temporary reprieve in how we were able to spend. But again, we need to take a step back and look at that. And, I know we've discussed the levy and how, if that's an option for us, or do we cut back on expenditure? So we'll have that discussion later at the end of this meeting. But I guess, is the whole, do we want, I don't want to increase the whole bigger so that we can't recover from it. And so I guess my question, so that you guys, can think about it and always come and discuss with me, is it the risk? Are we willing to take the risk of, putting everything onto this levy, or how do we want to continue? operating on that. So, again, we got a lot to think about. There's a lot happening in this forecast, a lot of things that can change. And so we'll continually monitor that and update you guys as I get more information. That's all I have. Short. So with that, I'd like to recommend A through H. I wanted to point out on line H our donations for this month. American Legion Post 62 donated $2,400 to CMS cheerleaders. Rosemarie and Floyd Muncie donated $840 to the CMS Washington, D.C. trip, and Floyd Muncie Lawn Care donated $840 to CMS Washington, D.C. trip. So,
Thank you. I have a motion on A through H.
I'll motion.
I'll second it.
Discussion?
Yes. Nick, on that 80% for personnel, is that pretty much state average as far as,
it's pretty typical across most school districts. We're in the business to serve kids, and so, yeah, most of it is in personnel cost.
and a question for Debbie, on that enrollment, is that a new trend that's kind of going for all school districts as far as our
Yes, I
enrollment?
think, well, the Department of Ed has made that pretty clear across Ohio, that declining enrollment. He does more research on that. Now, we will bring back 30 children from Pioneer. So that'll be 30 kids we'll fund that we weren't getting funding for, which will help that picture quite a bit. And then they'll stay with us permanently, hopefully. But I think that's just a state challenge everywhere.
Thank you.
Also, Nick, when you're going through there, yeah, definitely tough situation. I thought at one time you said that we only spend locally $20 per student.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just not. It's not equating to me. But 36% of our money comes from local property tax. I thought that's what you said.
Yeah, so
I guess then it seemed like
so
36% would be more than $20 a student.
yeah, so our collection is so 36% of our general fund collections is from resident property taxes.
Right.
But of what we spend of the $83 daily cost per pupil, 17% of that spend is per student or of the residents' overall cost
Per day.
per day.
Per day.
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
And we've been working really hard on our kindergarten recruitment too, to get that class sized up. So.
Yeah.
Any other discussion? Roll, please.
Mr. Wood,
Yes.
Mr. Kelly,
Yes.
Mr. Porter,
Yes.
Mr. Bonner.
Yes.
Superintendent recommendations?
Okay, I'd like to recommend A through G, but also on here you have resignation from Megan Cooper, who has taken a principal's job in Wheelersburg. And I'd like to just thank her for all of her hours and care and dedication to the primary school. She's made a huge difference over there, and I think that's going to be a tough hole to fill. We do not have a replacement yet. So I wish you well. She said she's going to keep wearing all those blue clothes she has. And then I'm also recommending some folks that are out here in the audience. Sarah Strong, Karen Fleck, and Anna Sensi are being recommended for special ed teachers. Sarah and Anna have been teaching those preschool pioneer classrooms at Mount Logan for years, and they're phenomenal teachers. I consider ourselves pretty fortunate to be able to get them. And that'll ensure that there aren't any hiccups in services. It should be a seamless transition. And then also Karen Fleck, who's coming from Bishop Leger with a lot of experience that we need at the primary school. And then Chrissy Kessler, also out here, we're recommending for the kindergarten position at Chillicothe Primary. That's being vacated by Audrey Huggins, who is getting married this summer and moving to Dayton.
I have a motion on that.
I'll motion.
Second. I'll second. Discussion? Roll, please.
Mr. Bonner,
Yes.
Mr. Wade,
Yes.
Mr. Kelly,
Yes.
Mr. Porter.
And then there are two more separate pull-out. One is for Tiffany Wade, also an intervention specialist at the primary school. She was, or she's been in the position of the Pioneer classroom that's been there for 4 years. And since Pioneers pulled out of that contract, we had to fill that position. Tiffany's a natural person to fill that role, as she's been in that classroom the entire time. And it is a classroom that has lots of kids with autism, multiple disabilities. Not a position that a lot of people want to take on. Very challenging, and she does a phenomenal job. So I'm recommending her, and that's a separate voting box.
A motion on that?
So moved.
Motion for that.
Discussion?
I
Second.
think Randy. Were you second, Randy?
Made the motion.
Roll, please.
Mr. Bonner,
Yes.
Mr. Wade,
Abstain?
Mr. Kelly,
Yes.
Mr. Porter.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And then your final one is for the healthcare center. It's an amendment to the agreement that we will be recommending Summit Construction. They are the construction firm that we use for both the primary and the intermediate when we built them. So they'll take on the construction piece and negotiating all the final, process for getting the Trent building renovated. And right now we are $20,000 under budget, which is great news. Yeah. The other districts in the area have not been able to get to budget yet, so we're the only ones getting started. They are saying that we'll be ready to go before the start of school year, which is great news for kids.
Motion on that?
I will motion.
Second.
I'll second.
Discussion? Roll, please.
Mr. Bonner,
Yes.
Mr. Wade,
Yes.
Mr. Kelly,
Yes.
Mr. Porter.
Yes.
Discussion and informational items.
Yes, I wanted to discuss again, this has been a discussion in the past. Just wanted to bring this up as we're approaching our deadline to file if that is of interest of the board. I have spoken to a few to figure out what the best route to go. And, as a school district, we have limited routes that we can, and options that we can go through. And so one of the routes is through property taxes, and one of the routes through income tax. After doing my research on what would be the most cost effective for our residential taxpayers. Although it is the property tax method, doing it through an emergency. And so it would, and if anyone would like to discuss further on why that's the reasoning, please feel free to ask questions, come to my office. But there's a reason behind my recommendation on that. My other recommendation, if that's what we decide, would be just to restore what we were currently generating in 2013, that we have decided as a board not to renew. And that my reasoning for that is, I think that we got that influx of COVID dollars, and that provided temporary reprieve. And now we don't have either of those sources anymore. And as you can see, we're overspending and deficit spending going into next year. And so that would be my recommendation. If that's the route the board would wish to go, I'm open to discussion.
And just to make sure we're 100% clear, I mean, we were heading down this path until COVID and the ESSER funds, and then the ESSER funds went away, and we were back in the same position that we were in before, right?
Correct. Yes.
I agree that property tax is the way to go in this situation. Right now, I just don't think it's the time to put a levy on. I know what, I agree with, your projections, you did a great job. And the one line is the main line, which differentiates spending and revenue. But a second line that's important is cash balance. So even right now, without a levy or any changes, we'd have a minuscule cash balance at the end of the next school year, if I'm correct.
Yes.
So with that in mind, I say we go on with what we have now, see how the dust settles after all these cuts, see what state fundings would change. I just, really everything that's going on around here economically, it was maybe an overstatement, but I think maybe somewhat a slap in the face to the residents to ask them for a tax increase right now, considering there are maybe 800 families that are going to lose their job January 1st, and a very, let's say, a very tenable economy anyway. So that, everything considered, and with the way state funding always changes. I mean, it's hard to, you do a great job, but it's hard to project because state funding could change at any time, and that's a potential thing. So just everything considered, I just don't think it's a time to go for a levy. I think, sometimes you just have to, I've always said, as a teacher, as a coach, as a city council member, you have to do more with less. I've always said that. I've always felt that. And I just don't think this is the time that, we ask for a levy. We tough it out for a year. Worst case scenario, we still have a little bit. I know you can't, it's not a sustainable future, but we still have a little bit of cash balance at the end of the next school year, see where we are, see what state funding have changed, and go from there. Thanks.
Any other comments, board member comments?
Just, when you're talking about the levy, Nick, on the levy,
Yeah.
are you talking 2 mills, 3 mills, or?
That's why I just asked.
It would equate to approximately 4.5 mils.
How much does 1 mill generate?
1 mil generates approximately $550,000 for our district. And to your point, 1 mil on a $100,000 value home is $35.
Did you say 1 mil was $35 additional for a $100,000 home?
Yes.
Okay, that sounds right.
Anything else? I'd like to say congratulations to our CHS and Bigwater Ross classes of 2025. Big thanks to maintenance and the custodial staff for prepping and tearing down graduation. That'd be a quick tear down. And then Wednesday at 5 o'clock, we will have a levy committee meeting in the Atwell conference room. And 4 days left. So thanks to all our staff for their hard work and this year, and our families supporting our students and staff. Our new people, welcome. Ms. Cooper, we're gonna miss you. Good luck. Nothing else? Anybody got a motion to adjourn?
Well, no, we'll just add some comments that, yeah, congratulations to everybody for the great job they did on graduation. It was a beautiful night, great event. And I will say that of all the years, I've seen a lot of them, but that is the closest we've ever cut an outdoor graduation to the storm hitting. I think we wrapped up about 9:05 and about 9:50, the storm was really bearing down on us. So that was a good call and yeah, great job by all.
Well, Mr. Ballantyne cut his speech to an hour and a half, so that helped.
You can never say enough good about Randy Kelly when you're out there talking.
Yeah, right.
Make a motion to adjourn?
So
I'll
moved.
make a motion to adjourn.
All in favor? Aye.
Randy and I, however you want.
Oh,
Yeah, listen.